Muy bien, vamos a iniciar la conferencia magistral del señor Greg Jackson. Queríamos también informarles de que en esta conferencia magistral se van a aceptar preguntas, así que la forma de hacerlo es vía por escrito, un formato que tienen las personas que nos apoyan acá en la sala, así que pueden ir solicitando los formatos respectivos o durante la charla del señor Jackson. Muy bien, vamos a presentar a Greg. Greg pertenece al grupo Burncut como director ejecutivo. Tiene más de 35 años de experiencia en la industria minera y ha trabajado en una gran diversidad de métodos de explotación, como es el open pit y underground, y en diferentes tipos de commodities, incluyendo oro, cobre, uranio, diamantes, carbón, plomo y zinc, en compañías que incluyen básicamente Rio Tinto y Newcrest Mining. También Greg tiene una experiencia muy vasta, ha tenido digamos, trabajos en Australia, en Norteamérica, África y Asia. Sus responsabilidades han incluido siempre la dirección de las diferentes facetas de las operaciones, estudios, construcción, ejecución, etc. Sus calificaciones profesionales incluyen el ser, digamos, un graduado en Ingeniería de Minas con distinciones, y él también haber hecho los programas de desarrollo gerencial en las universidades en Australia. Así que pedimos a Greg, por favor, que nos pueda ofrecer su conferencia.
Thank you. PERUMIN organisers, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Can I have my presentation, please? Most people don't naturally associate innovation with contractors. My job this morning is to convince you otherwise. I'm going to talk about the role of a contractor, how contractors work with clients, how contractors work with OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, and how we actually are doing a lot of innovation that most people don't see. Word of warning though, I am going to talk a little bit about Burncut, our contracting group. Burncut is principally an underground development contractor. We've been operating for over 30 years in Australia, and for the last 20 years we've been operating internationally. Our Burncut group engages in underground development, mine feasibilities, and a whole range of activities associated with the mining process. Burncut not only offers high-speed underground development, but we also provide world-class safety systems. And our safety systems that we operate universally across all of our sites, all across the world. We have accredited training systems, and we also do a lot of workforce nationalisation. Burncut is unique in the mining contractors, and then we offer not just underground development, we also have shotcreting, raise drilling, mining consulting, health and safety, electrical supplies and mine services, and an Indigenous training program. So we really offer a very broad range of services. The Burncut organisation is led by a group of directors that includes Steve Coughlin, who is one of the original founders of the Burncut group 30 years ago, and is on our board of directors. We're a private company. And I think maybe people would be surprised to know that of the ownership of Burncut, the principal owner, Claudio Thyssen, is actually an Argentinian citizen. So Burncut is actually a South American company. Claudio Thyssen actually operates a broad group of companies across the world. And not only does he own Burncut Australia, 70%, and Burncut International, but he also owns the Thyssen Mining Company of Canada, which operates in Canada and North America, and Thyssen-Schachtbau in Germany. So altogether, quite a large conglomerate of mining across the world. And in 2016, you see their annual turnover of $1.7 billion US, and by 2020, over $2 billion. So quite an extensive mining company, contracting company. Where does Burncut operate? Well, we're operating pretty well all over the world. Burncut Australia, Thyssen Canada, Thyssen-Schachtbau, and I kind of get the rest. So we are operating internationally. And of course, here in Peru, we have Mining Plus. And Paul, do you want to put your hand up? Free advertising. Mining Plus is already here in Peru. In terms of our international contracts, we're principally operating in Africa, where we have 6 international contracts running at the moment, and we have 1 in Saudi Arabia. In terms of the next 5 years, where are we headed? Obviously, Africa is very important to our business. We've been there 20 years, and it's still the majority of our international work. But we also have active projects soon to be released in Papua New Guinea, Indonesia. We've recently been in Mongolia, where we're looking to set up our mine services business. The Balkans, Serbia, with zinc prices the way they are and copper. It's a very prospective area. But the real focus now is really into South America. And we formed a joint venture with a very well-known local company, San Martin. And San Martin Burncut have been working together for about 12 months now. And we're actively pursuing work in this area. So I don't know how many in the audience here. How many contractors have we got in the audience? Put your hand up, please. Only me. How many owners have we got in the audience? Clients who own mines? Any? Oh, I've got 2 potential customers. How many consultants? Oh, okay. The rest must be politicians. So, San Martin Burncut, as I said, we are very excited to be here. So now I've done the free advertising, I'll actually talk about the subject. Underground mining, it's a challenging business. Strong competition from our peers, and also strong competition from mine owners. Many mine owners, particularly in Latin America, South America, want to be owner-operators, and it's our job to try and convince them that we can do it more cheaply. What we're seeing globally, though, is mine contracting is no longer just about cost. Once upon a time, it was just contractor comes in, do it as cheap as you can. But the expectation now globally is that we have to deliver on more than just operational capability. We need to be providing management systems, training systems, environmental compliance. It really is a whole new world. And that's forcing contractors to evolve to survive. And I think contractors are now starting to take the lead in the innovation space and getting involved in these disruptive technologies to actually change the way we do things. A client will do a study, a feasibility study. The feasibility study says how they're actually going to operate their mine. They'll start to operate, and over time they'll eventually evolve. Contractor, we tender jobs 20 or 30 times a year across the world. We're continually competing against other contractors and different owner expectations. So we get a lot more opportunity, and we're forced to think a lot more about different ways of doing things. The trends in underground mining, technology is definitely driving change. And whether you're a greenfields project or you're an existing operation looking to expand, the push is really safer, deeper, bigger and smarter. Safer in terms of intrinsically safe. Once upon a time it was, somebody did their job, and if they did it properly, correctly, followed the correct procedure, they wouldn't become injured. These days, we have to have systems and work processes where it's impossible almost for someone to injure themselves no matter what they do. And this technology, this is driving things like proximity detection around equipment, so people can't go close to operating equipment. Laser barriers, noise and vibration protection, location. We now need to know where people are real time, 24 hours a day, who's underground, where they are, what they're doing. And with remote operations, we're taking people out of the line of fire where they cannot be injured. And operational centres where operations are actually being run remote, thousands of kilometres away. Deeper, the shaft versus conveyor versus truck. And when I first started in mining, and I won't let go when that was, but really there was an old rule of thumb: anything below 500 metres, then you'd look at going to a shaft, too deep. These days, we've got one client, 1,700 metres, and they're still trucking. So that whole equation's changing. Bigger. The last 15 years, we're seeing underground mobile equipment is just getting bigger and bigger. 40-tonne truck used to be large. Now 65-tonne is the new standard. Underground loaders, 15-tonne was a big loader. And looking around the exhibitions, I think it still is a big loader from what I saw out there. But anyway, it used to be a big loader, but now 21-tonne is the standard in most mechanised mines. Drilling jumbos used to drill 12-foot rounds. We now drill 18-foot rounds, and in some places 20-foot rounds. Bigger. And the latest is smarter. Remote operations, remote loaders, auto tram where the loader drives itself, fully autonomous production systems, particularly in the big block cave operations, and smarter planning software, smarter scheduling where it's all becoming integrated. So definitely technology is driving change. And there I talk about the role of the contractor. Through the 90s, most clients had an engineering department, and that engineering department would solve the problems. These days, in organisations getting smaller, having to become more adaptable, we're now seeing that the contractor gets called on more and more to actually make decisions and to actually help owners solve their problems. Original equipment manufacturers, OEMs. The role of OEMs and contractors in innovation, I think, is really important. We work very closely together. Contractors are pushing for higher productivities, pushing the equipment manufacturers to build bigger and faster equipment. Contractors get to test the OEM equipment, give feedback, and contractors often have better maintenance systems than owners because we're very much focused on the bottom line. So we really provide a lot of information around whose equipment is the cheapest. And contractors often prototype where an OEM hasn't got a particular piece of equipment. Often we'll build something ourselves and then it becomes the opportunity for the OEMs. We also test the OEMs and we provide a little bit of truth to their promises. There's been a major Sandvik Talkfest in Finland last week, and I'm sure next week I'm going to be explaining to clients how the jumbo won't just drive itself down there, set itself up at the face and drill out completely all on its own, which is what they'll bring back from Finland. It's getting there, but it's not quite there yet. So we do provide the truth test. And we also drive that tension between the OEMs in terms of Sandvik versus Atlas versus CAT. We use all of the gear and we're continually pushing them to change. Some examples of that, really how OEM engagements change things for contractors. I don't know how many of you are aware of what a split feed is on a jumbo? No? No one? Okay. Well, a jumbo drill is what drills out a tunnelling face, and it dictates how far the holes can be drilled. Typically, they're 4 metres or 5 metres. But to be able to turn these slides around and drill rock bolt holes in the backs, we needed this thing called a split feed, which allows that feed to become not 5 metres long, but 4 metres long, to allow it to be able to rotate through 90 degrees. For the contractor, instead of having to have a scaler and a bolter and a jumbo, we can now get away with one piece of equipment to do 3 tasks. Originally, the OEMs didn't like that because they were only going to sell one piece of equipment. But the contractors forced it to happen because of the economics and, at the end of the day, reduced costs for our clients. Another important one has really been in the development of equipment and that equipment size that's getting bigger and bigger every year. As I said, 40-tonne trucks in 1991, 65-tonne trucks in 2017. And they're mostly fitting in the same tunnel size. We haven't had to put enormous tunnels in to take the trucks. We've been able to squeeze more, which means the OEMs have had to improve their equipment fleets to be able to run more efficiently. And lastly, which has been a major game changer, has been tele-remote operation and automation, or auto-tram, sorry. Wrong button. Back in the 1990s, we used to use remote loaders to clean up the final bit of production ore from a stope. And the reason we have to use remote loaders is you can't just have a person drive out into a massive open hole that might be 40 metres high, 20 metres wide and 50 metres long. You need the loading equipment to go out there without an operator. And in 1990, we used to send the loader out for that final clean-up. However, it became an unacceptable practice because the interaction between people and equipment, you've got a person standing in a small tunnel alongside a 30-tonne piece of, or 50-tonne piece of loader, which drives out with a little remote control, and you're sort of just hoping it's going to stop, then the operator would jump on it and drive away. There were a number of fatalities, and the industry said no, enough. So now we have remote operation, and this is that's in the Democratic Republic of Congo, an operator operating a loader, and he's watching it on screens. He drives it in, he fills the bucket, he flicks the lever, and then the computer then takes over and takes that loader several hundred metres back to the tip point. It's been a game changer for the industry, and it's now become a primary mining method where owners can save a lot of development costs by using remote loaders and reducing the amount of draw points they need to put in. Contractors have been absolutely important in getting this to happen. And for example, within Burncut, we're using 2 OEM systems and 2 aftermarket systems. So we've got a different equipment competing against each other. So again, that competitive tension. Owners also lever off contractor flexibility. Contractors work across multiple projects with different OEMs, and we can provide the owner a solution that will work in their conditions. And often they'll ask us for what is the best solution, because we've been there, done that in another site. Owners trial equipment through the contractor, and the example, the Gawler Deeps mine in Australia, which is the one that's at 1,700 metres, we've trialled 4 different trucks there in the last 5 years, where we've trialled it through our contracting fleet, and the owner has got the benefit of all that productivity, costing, and the economics. And so when the owner now wants to place orders for their own trucks, they've had the benefit of all of that work we've done for them without them having to spend a cent of their own money to buy equipment. The other important thing is owners often use contractors to benchmark their own efficiency and performance. Again, because we're operating across multiple sites, we're able to provide that data in a similar operating environment, and it really does help them get a better feel for what can be done. Contractors also can react quickly to changing circumstances because, again, we've had experience in other sites. So in terms of innovation, I just thought I'd just give you a few examples of sort of innovation within the Burncut group. And there's a range of, from major technical solutions right down to simple operator suggestions that make it easier for someone to do their job more safely and more efficiently. So these paste-fill reticulation valves. For those that use paste-fill underground, you know that if a paste-fill line blocks, then it's always a real urgent matter to get that line open before the concrete sets in the pipeline, and you've got a major problem. Burncut through Quattro, our project management group, has developed this fairly simple valve which can either go to 2 or 4 positions, so you can actually remotely push a button and have that valve change over without people having to get up there and actually break the pipeline and put themselves at risk, but also it's fairly inefficient, and usually by the time you've got up there to divert it, the line's gone solid and you've got major problems. So again, that's a fairly simple idea, but it's now being sold around the world. Another simple one that's come from operator suggestions. Underground, one of the sort of tasks that we do all the time is our secondary ventilation fans. We need to move them from location to location. And it's actually quite a time-consuming task, and it's very difficult to hang these fans because they're normally chained to the roof of the drive or the backs of the drive. And to lift them up there, normally you have to get in some form of a work platform and work between the fan and a very confined space above it. And there have been a number of injuries where people have been crushed above the actual fan trying to attach it. So this device allows us to sit the fan in a cradle, and I wasn't going to actually bring a video to show it working, but it takes about 2 minutes for that operator in the IT to actually lift the fan into position and have it hanging without any persons needing to actually get up there and expose themselves to the risk of a crush injury. So that's a suggestion from our operators, and it's again how we've been able to make something that's much more efficient and effective, but also improve or reduce the risk of injury. Ejector tray trucks. For those that use these sort of trucks in their business, you'll note that normally an ejector tray truck has a push plate here which takes up room in the back of the truck, and it pushes out to actually empty the truck. Quite maintenance intensive. Rocks jam the sliding mechanisms. Rocks act as grinding paste in that area there which causes wear. So the ejector truck as a concept has some advantages. It doesn't have to tip, so you don't need a high enough roof to actually empty your truck. So these are used a lot, particularly in backfilling operations. So what we've done is take a typical and tested feeder that's operated in surface applications for many years, and we've actually retrofitted that into a back of a 6020 Atlas Copco truck. And we're expecting to trial that in the next couple of months. It's actually happening now. And we think that's going to be a very much sought after solution that is going to provide a lot more flexibility to owners in terms of using these trucks particularly for backfilling operations. We talk a lot about trucks if you're a mining contractor, because ultimately moving rock as cheaply as possible and as quickly as possible is is a major part of our business. Within Burncut, we've sponsored one of the Australian universities to look at a sort of next generation of electric drive trucks, a diesel drive driving electric motors. And you know, we very much see this as the technology of trucking for the next 10 years. You know, we know that there's a lot of stuff happening around batteries and lots around you know, potential for trolley wires and these sort of things to power up trucks, but that's all still more evolving technology. We see that the diesel motor driving electric drive, similar to what's been working in the open pits for many years, is the next sort of 10 years of underground. And we actually have a concept truck that Burncut have developed, which takes these wheel motors and fits them into a standard 60-tonne mine truck, and we're actually prototyping that now, and it'll be trialling in early 2018, and we're hoping that next year we'll actually have a new truck that, well, at least for the next 10 years, will be a sort of market changer for us. For your information, that picture there, that was our first attempt at a new truck within the Burncut group. So the difference with this truck is you'll see it's got an engine that end and an engine this end. So dual engine, dual plants, and a 60-tonne payload. We built 5 of these trucks, and at the end of it, our conclusion was, look, we got it to work, but it wasn't reliable enough for the work that we do, and we decided to shelve it some $10 million later. And we're now working on this new prototype, which is a diesel electric truck. And as I said, very excited about it. Another example for innovation was a box hole rig. Now, a box hole is it's a small shaft type thing that we can drill, and drilling it in the upwards direction. So this rig drills upwards. It can drill upwards 30 metres and can drill up to a 750 millimetre diameter hole. And this is actually fitted on a production drill. Yep. And you can see we've put the drilling carrier, and we've actually built that, and it was very successful. And we were actually going to build some more. But along came Sandvik, and they decided it was such a good idea, they actually built one themselves. Now, you see our nice old second-hand unit here and all that, and the big shiny one that they built. But you can actually buy that now off the shelf. And that was something that we prototyped within Burncut as an idea, and they've converted it. So OEMs and contractors working together. Some examples here of shaft sinking. Shaft sinking is a high-risk activity, again, where men and equipment are close together in a very confined space. And there's a number of innovations there which we've introduced to improve the efficiency and also reduce risk. Another one is shotcrete, shotcrete spraying. We've come up with a 3D shotcrete scanner which can show us where shotcrete thickness is not right, and we can actually improve it. So as a wrap-up, successful mining contractors are natural innovators. You know, it's the way we work and the way we think, and it's driven by the culture of our organisations. And innovation within the Burncut Group is certainly valued and certainly supported by management. Not in, gee, that's just a good idea, but in the fact that, you know, we invest significant capital in terms of testing and proving ideas and putting it into practice. Being a contractor, as I said before, it's competitive, and those competitive forces just drive us to introduce new technology to stay ahead of our competitors. There is definitely risk, and we saw that with our truck that we built, that yes, it worked, but it didn't work well enough to go and be a mainstream solution. But again, we hadn't overcommitted, and we were able to modify our approach and follow a different tact. And that relationship between the OEMs and the contractors has been one of the key foundations on how we've been able to drive innovation. Mine owners, of course, benefit significantly from the contractor's broad experience, and there is a reduced risk of failure, particularly by using a contractor to trial and bring in a solution where the owner, similar to Gwalia, where we've been testing all of the trucks under our contract, and they get plenty of information so that before they make their decision, they can base it on real data. And just for those owners, the three owners that are here, particularly though, the earlier you guys involve contractors in your project, we think it's the better not just for us, but for you guys. So anybody that wants the PFS study done, talk to Mining Plus down the front here. They can do the technical work, but please make sure you involve the contractor early. We can certainly save you money and make it a better mine. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Greg. Por favor. Por favor, esperamos sus preguntas en los formatos, por favor, hacerlos llegar. Ok, acá tenemos algunas preguntas de la ingeniera Victoria Cutipa. Dice, detallar más sobre el escáner 3D para Shotcrete. Aquí Paul nos va muy amablemente a ayudar con la traducción más específica, ¿no? Por favor, Paul.
In English for Greg's.
Please, you have the question.
In English, for Greg's benefit, the person asking the question would just like a little bit more detail on the 3D Shotcrete scanner and how that works.
Hello, is that working? Yes, so the 3D scanner, it just takes initial scan of the profile of the backs, then you spray the shotcrete, then you take another scan, and it just calculates the difference between the two scans, and it comes up with a plot, and you can see the different colours showing where those hot spots are, and then the operator can then respray into the area where they need more shotcrete. The scanning system works, and we've trialled it. We're currently just needing to make it miner-proof so that it actually handles the duty of being mounted on the boom. So that's very close to being an operational system.
Ok, muchas gracias, Greg.
And sorry, if people do want more information, more than happy to sort of provide it outside of this if they want to send me an email or something. Okay?
Sí, si alguien quisiera tener más información, puede contactarlo a él, ¿no? Otra pregunta dice, indicar qué innovaciones hay en el campo de la voladura.
This is a specific question about blasting and innovation in blasting.
Well, blasting these days, we no longer, typically it used to be, ANFO was the explosives of choice. These days, most of our operations are done with emulsion, but specific and in terms of, production blasting, the use of electronic detonators and that whole sort of range of solutions. But again, is the question more a specific aspect of blasting or just blasting in general?
It was just blasting.
Yes, blasting in general.
Okay. A lot of the blasting we do get through the actual suppliers of the explosives, and just as we're being forced to innovate as contractors, the likes of Orica are being forced to provide full solutions now of not just explosive products but charging systems and actually providing that whole package.
Ok, acá tenemos dos preguntas bastante similares que hablan sobre la estrategia de la empresa para incursionar en el mercado peruano, especialmente de repente en algunas actividades subterráneas, ¿no? Esa sería la pregunta que combina las dos.
The question in English is about Burncut's strategy regarding entering the Peruvian market in the underground space?
Yeah, our strategy was to simply partner with a local, and I said that's why we're so excited about the partnership with San Martin. San Martin has the operational experience in Peru. We bring the technical underground development component to the relationship. We certainly see as an area what's prospective to us about South America is, we see open pits getting towards the end of their life, soon needing to go underground. So that's going to mean large underground mines, sub-level caves, block caves. That's the sort of operations that we do worldwide. So we see that there's a particular market coming up, which is not small-scale mining, narrow vein mining as typical happening in Peru and other parts of South America. We see large-scale underground mining as being something that's going to happen in the next 2 to 5 years, and we think that we can certainly provide a service to clients in that area.
Gracias, Greg. Acá tenemos otra pregunta de Félix Francia. Él dice, ¿cómo se maneja las desviaciones que se pueden tener en seguridad al modificar un equipo? O sea, ¿cómo se manejan las desviaciones que se pueden tener en seguridad al modificar un equipo?
Yes, I understand and interpret this question about the modifications of the equipment that you do, sort of the custom modifications to manage safety, to make the equipment more safe, or if you do modifications to ensure the equipment is safe.
Yes, so what's that flashing?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. 2 parts to that. Within Burncut, we have Quattro, and Quattro is actually an engineering group. And for things like work platforms, that fan-changing basket, they're actually designed and certified to Australian standard. So and the box hole rig, so that equipment is actually engineered. It's not just been done in the workshop. So they're actually engineered solutions. And then also we work very closely with modifications with the OEMs as well. So any minor modifications would be done with OEM support. And where we develop our prototype equipment, it's done under full engineering control of our project management group.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Aquí hay otra pregunta interesante que la voy a leer en inglés muy cuidadosamente. Future of mass mining in Peru and Latin America.
Yeah, that was just a general question for me,
that's
actually.
Your question.
I just thought it'd be interesting for the audience to understand how you see the next 10 to 15 years in Peru, and you've touched on it briefly in the other questions, but where is it going from what you've seen?
Yeah, thanks for your question, Paul. We'll talk about that later. I think I've said it 3 or 4 times. There are no large-scale underground mines really operating in Peru at the moment. And by large scale, I'm talking underground productivities of 5 million tonne a year plus. I mean, we regularly have clients in other parts of the world where underground mines are in that 5 to 10 million tonne a year range. And as open pits get to the end of their life, and we're hearing it in Chile, we're hearing it even in Peru, that the natural thing is that these big surface mines, the ore bodies keep going, they're going to go underground, and we think that's going to happen in the next, we even talked to some people today about potential opportunity in the next in the next 12 months. So it's kind of happening now, but in the next 2 to 5 years, I think it's going to be real. In addition to that, if you look around, Colombia and Ecuador, as more explorations happening there, people have found some big, large ore bodies, and there's some big, sub-level caves and block caves on the drawing boards now, and they will, Fruta del Norte is already starting development. Unfortunately, we didn't get that one. But there are others like it. So there's open pits will be going underground, and there's big new deposits that the only way they'll be economic is as bulk mines.
Gracias, Greg. I will read in English. It's in English. It's from Alfonso Tejeruna, algo así. How difficult is to change the culture in Peru's underground segment that is traditionally geared towards smaller scale manual methods to change the approach. How long will it take?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's,
Creo que ciertamente la forma en que estamos enfocándolas no es ir ahí y decirle al cliente, no deberías estar haciendo la minería como lo estás haciendo ahora. Lo que nosotros estamos buscando cuerpos de minerales que no se está trabajando, son los nuevos minerales o cuerpos de mineral que no han sido todavía trabajados, que no sería, por ejemplo, que no son económicas para hacer una minería a tajo abierto. Entonces, no es que estamos tratando de cambiar su cultura, sino que son nuevos proyectos donde hay un cambio de estilo desde el inicio. Y creo que 1 o 2 proyectos exitosos van a poder permitir cambiar la cultura naturalmente. Habiendo dicho eso, hay un número de pequeñas minas a las que no podemos enseñarles cómo hacer la minería. Ellos lo están haciendo muy bien. Eso no es lo que nosotros hacemos. Reconocemos a los caballeros mineros si quieren. Nosotros operamos equipo y hacemos un trabajo que no es tanto el de sostener la mano de un propietario, ¿no? Sino el de, en este caso, sería entrar con nuevos sistemas desde el día 1. Gracias, Greg. ¿Hay más oportunidades para hacer que venga la experiencia de los contratistas australianos al Perú? Por supuesto que no. Solo necesitan uno. Nosotros. No podían esperar que contestara diferente, ¿no? Bueno, no estamos viéndolo de una forma en que se pide un contratista de fuera, sino como lo hemos hecho nosotros, entrar acá con un asociado local y buscar a ver donde los contratistas australianos han venido durante varios años acá y se han ido. No han tenido un gran impacto. Nosotros pensamos que la forma de hacerlo es hacerlo adecuadamente, con un asociado adecuado, con un socio que tenga la misma visión y los mismos valores que tenemos nosotros. No van a necesitar más. Nosotros vengan con nosotros. Y si puedo ampliar un poquito acá en cuanto al uso de la fuerza de trabajo local, en cuanto a las comunidades y la capacitación para los trabajadores locales, ¿podrías ampliar un poquito eso? Sí, habiendo dicho eso, hemos operado internacionalmente ya 20 años, y sobre todo en el África y en lugares como la República Democrática del Congo, o donde está la mina Kababi, donde todavía operamos ahí. Tenemos una fuerza laboral de casi 400 personas, casi 1.400 personas, 427 de los cuales son de Congo, locales, y vienen directo de las cacerías, no tienen idea de cómo operar los camiones o hacer nada, pero hemos pasado por la capacitación y tenemos el sistema donde podemos entrenar y capacitar a la gente a hacer las tareas que se necesitan. Y como nosotros vemos al Perú, va a ser realmente muy bueno porque hay en el Perú generaciones de mineros en los trabajadores locales, así que nosotros vamos a traer en grandes equipos móviles. Va a ser muchísimo más sencillo para nosotros el poder capacitarlos en los nuevos equipos. Obviamente va a ser un desafío, pero menos grande, menos importante que en otras partes del mundo. Eso está en
Se ha
castellano.
mostrado un equipo para perforación
We have
vertical.
shown an
Estos
equipment for vertical drilling.
reúnen
These
los
equipment,
requisitos
do they
técnicos para
gather
esta
the
actividad
technical
y qué costo tiene
requirements for this activity and what is their
en
cost?
equipo, teniendo
As an
como
equipment,
preferencia que
as
en el mercado
the
ya
reference is
existe un
that
equipo
we
para este
already
trabajo,
have in the
el
market
S7D.
the
La
S7D,
pregunta la hace
which
Freddy
is a
Quintana.
vertical drilling
That
equipment.
was quite a long question, but it's basically about the
Es una
drilling
pregunta larga,
piece of
pero es
equipment that you
sobre
showed.
el equipo de perforación vertical.
One. And it was just talking about
Estaba
another
hablando
piece of equipment that's
de otro
in fact
equipo,
do this type of work, the S7D.
la S7D, que hace exactamente el mismo tipo de trabajo.
Well, perhaps you can just expand a little bit more
Tal
about
vez
that
puedas
piece of
ampliar un poquito
drilling,
tu
piece of equipment, and does it comply with all
Mm,
the various
lo que es lo que
etc.
piensas de este tipo de equipo y cómo se puede ampliar un poco y el costo obviamente de este tipo de equipos.
Okay, I'm not aware of the S7D.
No conozco el S7D.
That question, maybe I
¿De
can-
quién es esa pregunta? Tal vez me puede decir.
Sorry?
¿Sí?
Freddie up the back.
Freddy, ahí al
Yeah, I'm
fondo.
not aware of that.
No conozco
What that is.
qué es el S7D y tal vez podría ser realmente capaz de hacer lo mismo. No lo sé.
When we didn't actually have a rig available to us. So
Nosotros en ese momento no teníamos una perforadora disponible para nosotros y estuvimos combinando la plataforma de perforación directamente, poniendo la perforadora ahí. En términos de costos nuevamente, no le puedo decir, no recuerdo así de mi cabeza, probablemente más barato de la unidad
the Sandvik unit is
Sandvik, pero la unidad Sandvik es para una operación de una única persona. No lo dije en la diapositiva, pero una sola persona puede llevar esa perforadora, ponerla, instalarla, darse vuelta en la cabina del operador y ahora ya es la consola de operación de la perforadora y hacer el hoyo de la perforación sin tener que cambiar de operador. Pero por supuesto, si quieren más información sobre eso, de esas diapositivas, yo estoy más que disponible para darles más información.
Thank you, Greg.
Gracias, Greg.
There's one more in English.
Hay una pregunta más en
By
inglés.
reaching out
Al
to South American operations,
buscar
are you
operaciones
looking
en
to
Sudamérica,
get ahead
¿estás
in
buscando
comparison to your other contracting
adelantarte a
competitors
tus
in
competidores de contratistas de Australia?
Yes.
Sí. Así es.
Australia? Okay. Thank you.
Gracias.
Y una última pregunta.
And the last
¿Qué sistema de
question, what
operación
is
minera
the mining operation
se puede
system
usar
that you might be
para
able to
extraer
use
un
to
intrusivo?
extract an intrusive
Esta palabra, la última, no la entiendo. Dice
I don't understand the last one. of a diuretic?
Repito, ¿qué sistema de operación
What
minera
is a
se puede
mining
usar
operation system that you can
para
use
extraer un
to
intrusivo
extract a
diurético?
diuretic intrusive?
So talking about a large intrusive body, so I guess it's
Un
talking
cuerpo de
about,
intrusivo muy amplio y
mining methods,
creo que métodos de
massive
minado
intrusive
para un intrusivo masivo conteniendo oro.
sort of mining methods. How would you
¿Cómo lo
but
manejarías?
how would you think to extract that?
Well, I suppose it all depends
Bueno,
how
depende
massive it
de
is
qué tan
and,
masivo es
you know, what the surrounding host rock is.
y cuál es la roca madre alrededor.
Certainly the method that has been
Ciertamente
talked
los
about now
métodos
for
que
most
se está
massive,
hablando
everybody
para
wants to
todo lo
turn,
masivo,
underground massive ore bodies into,
todo el mundo quiere
block cave.
volver eso
Again,
a
it depends
una roca de
how
una
massive it is.
cueva de bloque, pero depende de
Dimensions
cuán
that work, but
masivo sea para ver la
everybody's
dimensión
looking to
del
drive
trabajo,
that,
pero todo el mundo
open pit type, mining costs
va a
into the
pensar en
underground
llevar
mining.
este tipo de mentalidad de minado de tajo abierto a una minería subterránea. Pero nuevamente hay que saber las dimensiones de la intrusión y dependiendo de el tipo de roca madre, estamos hablando de 100% de extracción. Si tenemos que hacer una remoción de pilares, tenemos 100% de recuperación o vamos a tener que dejar los pilares afuera. Pero muchos se está haciendo con recuperaciones masivas. O sea que es más el tipo de striping de atajo abierto, más no estamos seguros dónde está el mineral y dónde están los temas de lo que es la ganga, así que hay que ver muy bien cómo se recupera, pero nuevamente, ciertamente, nosotros podríamos ayudar muy bien con un método aplicable una vez que tengamos una idea de cuánto es el masivo.
Muy bien, muchas
intrusivo.
gracias por responder
Well,
a las
thank
preguntas.
you, Greg,
Por
for
favor,
answering
pedimos
your
un fuerte
questions. A
aplauso para
round of
Greg.
applause for Greg.
Un feliz regreso a Australia.
And a happy return home. Gracias a PERUMIN y todos los organizadores. Es una de las cosas realmente impresionantes y los
Muy
próximos
bien,
par de
muchas
días va a ser
gracias
muy
por su
interesante
asistencia.
para mí.
Por favor, a las
Thank you
3
for
de
your
la tarde se
attendance. At
reanuda,
3 p.m. we
las
would
actividades en esta sala. la siguiente
resume our
sesión.
activities
Muchas
for the
gracias.
next session.